Welcome to this comprehensive masterclass on rotator cuff tears, the most common cause of shoulder pain and disability that you will encounter in clinical practice. Let's start with the fundamental principles. Rotator cuff pathology exists on the spectrum, ranging from partial thickness defects to massive full-thickness tears involving multiple tendons. Prevalence increases dramatically with age, affecting up to 50% of individuals over 60. The supraspinatus is the most commonly torn tendon, and the pathognomonic radiographic sign is superior migration of the humeral head, indicating a loss of the critical force couple. To truly understand cuff tears, we must appreciate the force couples. The sits muscles each play a distinct role. Supraspinatus initiates abduction, infraspinatus and teres minor handle external rotation, and subscapularis provides internal rotation. In the coronal plane, the deltoid superior pole is bound by the inferior cuff compressing and depressing the head. Tears commonly originate in the critical zone, a hypovascular watershed area 1 centimeter medial to the supraspinatus insertion. Cuff tears are classified by size using the Cofield system. Small tears under 1 centimeter do well with single row repair and have excellent healing, while medium tears of 1 to 3 centimeters are typically managed with double row fixation. As tears progress to large or massive, exceeding 5 centimeters or involving multiple tendons, standard repair outcomes decline significantly, often necessitating superior capsular reconstruction or reverse total shoulder arthroplasty. Beyond tear size, muscle quality is a crucial prognostic factor assessed using the Goodelier classification of fatty infiltration. Stages 0 and 1 represent normal muscle with good repair potential, while Stage 2 shows equal muscle and fat with fair outcomes. Grades 3 and 4 predict poor results, as advanced fatty change is largely irreversible, even if the tendon heals successfully. The sits mnemonic helps us recall the 4 rotator cuff muscles and their functional priorities. Supraspinatus is the superior cuff and most commonly torn. Infraspinatus and teres minor form the posterior cuff, providing external rotation, and subscapularis is the anterior cuff responsible for internal rotation. Targeted physical examination allows you to isolate each tendon. The empty test assesses supraspinatus, while the external rotation lag sign is highly specific for infraspinatus tears. Teres minor dysfunction is revealed by the hornblower's sign, and subscapularis tears are identified through the belly press, liftoff, or bear hug tests. Remember that impingement tests like Neer and Hawkins-Kennedy are sensitive, but not specific for actual cuff tears. Imaging begins with plain radiographs to assess the acromiohumeral distance and rule out arthritis. Magnetic resonance imaging is the gold standard, offering greater than 90% sensitivity for full-thickness tears, while also evaluating retraction and muscle quality. The PADI classification grades retraction, and a positive tangent sign on sagittal imaging indicates significant muscle atrophy. Ultrasound remains a useful dynamic alternative, particularly for full-thickness tears. The treatment paradigm begins with conservative management for chronic degenerative tears, including physiotherapy and activity modification. If symptoms persist or the tear is acute in a young, active patient, arthroscopic repair is indicated. For large U-shaped tears, margin convergence techniques allow tension-free fixation. When tears are massive and irreparable with pseudoparalysis, superior capsular reconstruction or reverse total shoulder arthroplasty become the appropriate surgical choices. Several key prognostic numbers guide our expectations. Approximately 40% of tears managed conservatively will increase in size within 2 years. Following arthroscopic repair, good clinical outcomes are reported in 70 to 90% of patients, though re-tear rates range from 10 to 30%, depending on tear size and tissue quality. An acromiohumeral distance under 7 millimeters strongly suggests a chronic massive tear. Consider a 62-year-old manual worker with progressive pain and weakness over 3 months, with imaging revealing a full-thickness supraspinatus tear and Gaudier grade 2 fatty infiltration. The appropriate initial management remains conservative, focusing on physiotherapy and activity modification. If symptoms persist beyond 3 to 6 months, arthroscopic repair is warranted, as grade 2 suggests reasonable healing potential, making double row fixation appropriate. Now picture a 75-year-old presenting with pseudoparalysis and a massive retracted tear with grade 4 fatty change. The primary surgical concern here is that this tear is irreparable, as advanced fatty infiltration cannot be reversed. Standard repair would predictably fail, so the discussion shifts toward non-operative measures, superior capsular reconstruction, or reverse total shoulder arthroplasty to restore active elevation.